one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. Diane?
It's me. Ryan. Here. Daniil. Here. Andrews.
Here.
Rouse.
Here.
McIntyre. Here. Ferretti.
Here.
Oh, Kabansky missing. Oh, absent. Not absent, no, missing.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting, October 5th, 2021.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Yes.
Okay, good. And I'd also like to make a motion to waive the Roberts Rules of Order and continue by discussion today.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Should we call
Aye.
roll call?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Davis.
I'm sorry.
Ryan. Yes. Daniil.
Yes.
Andrews.
Yes.
Rouse.
Yes.
Kabansky absent. McIntyre, yes. Ferretti.
Yes. Okay. Okay, we only have a few items today. Hopefully we'll get out of here within a reasonable time. Got a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. Okay, a little update on the pandemic. Briefly. Actually, we're doing pretty good the last month or so. This is Martin County. I'll give you a few statistics. First of all, as you all know, August was probably the worst month. Last August, just like 6 weeks ago, was probably the worst month we've had since the pandemic started in the beginning of 2020. It just, Delta virus popped up and caused a lot of issues as well as other things, and but thank God it only lasted about a month, and towards the middle of September we came out of it, and we've been doing really well up till date. It's been a little bit of a roller coaster ride, you know. June and May and June were really exceptional months. We thought we were pretty much done with the virus, but it seems like we still got to be aware. The vaccinations for Martin County, these are from July to October, present time. I just got this information from October 14th, information on the internet. Okay, the highest vaccinated group is us, 65 to 85, people aged 65 to 85. 87% of people in Martin County, those ages, have had both their vaccines. That's pretty good. The worst is the teens to age 45, and that runs around 55%. Florida information, actually, people 65 years and older are 89% vaccinated, even a little better than total of Martin County. Best age group are the older people, for sure. And teens to 30 years old are 54%. So, back in August and early September, of those tested, over 20% were positive. Right now, from mid-September till today, it's down to about 5.5% of those tested are positive. Quite a jump. When you're around 5%, that's pretty good. That's almost a target for CDC and other health organizations. The United States, 56% of all Americans are fully vaccinated, not much. But those over 65 are 85% in the United States fully vaccinated, 85%. Pretty good. And as you know, children under 12 are not eligible yet for vaccines. 66% of all Americans, this is related to the United States, have at least one shot. And probably, I think it's, well, depending on the age group, but only 66% have had one shot. But it shows that the people who have had both shots are quite higher. And So things are going better, absolutely, as far as the vaccine shots. Recently, the statistics show a downward trend, a substantial downward trend. New infections down 10 to 12%, hospitalization down 10%, and the deaths are down about 13%. That's over the last couple of months. Still this week in the United States, 84,000 new cases will probably be initiated, and over 7,000 people will go into the hospital. Those are the averages for the last couple of weeks. So it's still, we got something to think about. But things are going well in Martin County and Florida. We all can be, a little rest assured that things are getting better, especially as the more vaccines that are made, the better we do. Okay, I spoke again to the office of the Representative Toby Overdorf about capital contribution. He's still in Tallahassee. I was reassured by the aide that I'll get contacted soon and see where we can go with this. Hopefully we can move along on our capital contribution, and to me it's not a cost to the government, but it's certainly all it involves is maybe a little change in the statute, the wording and the change, so maybe it's a possibility that it could happen. I'd like to think positive about that. Mora is sponsoring a health fair on November 8th, right here in the clubhouse from 2 to 4. Also, COVID booster shots will be available for those that have the Pfizer and the Moderna. You got to sign up. There's a sign-up sheet there, and there's a blood drive going up on the same day. Peggy, would you like to say anything on the health drive?
The vaccine sign-up sheet is here on the clipboard, and then you'll fill that out, and then be sure to pick up the consent form here also, which you'll have to fill out and bring with you. Also, if you have not had any of the vaccines yet, you can get your first one that day also. So, and then the health fair, yes, the blood bus, the big red bus will be here for that also. And that's on Monday, November 8th. It's in the afternoon from 2 to 4. The vaccines will actually be given in the glass room up here. So we hope everyone participates in it.
Thank you, Peg and Maura, for putting that together. That's really a surprise to me that we could get our booster shots right here in our ballroom here. Okay, tickets are available for Halloween, and looks like they're going pretty good. Would you like to say anything about, you're going to be selling them again, right, pretty soon?
Great response. We have 30 seats left.
Okay.
After Friday, between 1 and 3, that's the last of the tickets to be sold.
And just briefly, okay, Claire and I are going to sponsor another one of the trivia things we had last year. A couple of people asked us about it. The date is going to be Saturday, November 13th. It should be a fun night. It's only going to be $3 to play, and any money we collect will go out to the winners. You pick your own team, or we'll put your team together for you. Lots of fun and laughs. Multiple choice answers, which makes it easier and more enjoyable, so think about it. There'll be posters signed up, and any questions, you give me a call. I think that's about it. Okay, as far as things we could talk about today or discuss, I have a correspondence from Diane Parks about moving the chip shots from Mora to the Communication Committee. I'm going to read about her proposal or a letter, and then we can kick it around a little bit. Dear board members and Chris, I would like to ask if it would be possible to move the chip shots to the Communication Committee. Chip shots at present is sent out for the months of October, December, and February. This is not covering the seasonal months. As social activities chairman, we depend on chip shots to inform the residents of any forthcoming activities, dates to buy tickets, getting volunteers for these activities. Channel 63 is a great way to advertise the activities. but many residents do not look at 63. A physical paper is much easier to look at and to see when events take place. Thank you in advance to consider this request. Sincerely, Diane Parks, Social Activities Chairman. Well, personally, I think it's a good idea. You know, Communications Committee is communications, and certainly Chip Shots is communication, keeping our community informed. I'm sure it is missed by a lot of the community, especially during, a season when everybody is here. So I think it's a good idea, and I'm just going to poll the board now. We'll go around and see what the thoughts are, and also if anybody wants to speak on it or make a comment. Tim?
Okay, communications and Chip Shots, to me, the same thing, so I think it belongs under communications.
Pretty much, Lorraine?
Yeah, I think it belongs under communication also, because it is part of communication. And I thought we discussed this a while back, and said it should be communication. I'm not sure. Are you on the communications?
I am.
And did we discuss it previously?
No, not on the board.
Not at a board
Board meeting,
I think it
no.
was discussed. Okay, all right. I
Kim?
think it's a good idea.
Thank you.
Well, I'd like to respond as a board member, as the liaison to the Communication Committee, and as an actual voting member of the Communication Committee, which currently is headed by Bill McIntyre. I think that it seems like from that letter that the main concern, and I totally agree with it, is that it should be put out more frequently during the season, especially like every month. I'm not sure that if Maura, and I believe I have had personal communications, is willing to do or continue with, you notice that we did get a November Chip Shots. So if there are people willing to submit articles, which is a big thing. I mean, it should not be expected that either the Communication Committee or Maura write every single article in the Chip Shots, number one. I believe that Bill McIntyre, who heads up the Communication Committee, also reviews the current Chip Shots before it goes to print. So Communication Committee is somewhat involved. I'm not totally convinced that it needs to be moved if we have a monthly Chip Shots from Maura. That's my opinion.
Okay, thank you. Good thoughts there. Diane?
Okay, I sort of have mixed feelings about this because I think Maura's done a great job for years and years and years. Maura represents the residents' opinions, and to delegate it to just one committee, I'm afraid might actually have some people not participate or not feel like they can make comments. I've been on a number of committees throughout my stay here at Monterey, and it seems like the committees actually form the ideas. Maura really represents the people, so I have mixed emotions about it.
Okay, I wasn't aware. I thought that Maura was on board with it, but we'll find out, I guess, in a little while. Vic?
I think it should be part of the communications committee. When it was done before, it was basically one person that did it. They put the information together once the notes or letters or whatever was given to them. So I don't see one committee over another, but since it is part of communications, why not have it? I don't know why it was ever taken down to like four times a year. Like everybody's saying, it's vital to use it as a means of communication during the time when everybody's here.
Yeah, does make sense, yeah.
I'd like to also just make an additional comment that the current Communication Committee is comprised of about 5 people, which is a lot smaller than Maura. So Diane's point, I think, is well taken, that Maura does represent the members of the community. And I think if we can work with Maura, that we can continue to keep it in that venue.
Okay. Chris?
I think the biggest thing was getting people to help get it out. Maura was having a hard time. At one time, the building reps didn't want to hand deliver them. We're not mailing them to everybody that's out of Monterey, getting people to fold them, etc. It had started to become a burden, and I believe that's one of the reasons why it was knocked down to every other. Plus, we did get, not really complaints, but people that have to write articles are like, what am I going to write about now? It's only been a month. What do I have to say? What do I have to do? But nobody says you have to give a report every month, or I have to give a report every month.
that's
It
right.
may just be a calendar of events
Yeah.
that's going out for that particular month. Totally agree with all of you. It should be every month during season. That is one of our key ways that we let everybody know what's going on in this place.
And that concern about folding, et cetera, getting them out is not going to change between Maura and communications. The point being that we need to really encourage volunteers to help do that folding and distributing them.
And the season, to me, the season would be probably at least September or October through maybe May or something like that. Not just the January, February, and March. As long as we have a number of residents here, I think it's something to consider. Peggy, would you like to say something on this?
Thanks, Jean. I have no problem in having this under communication. It certainly should be. And Communication Committee can reevaluate the need for it, the form it should be in. Like Chris said, it might be just an event and not a lot of different articles in it. So Communication Committee can come up with that. And it was more of a pilot to see if you need it every month. And so the feedback we've got is people want more of it. So I have no problem with it. The other issues, there are parts to it. It is producing it and having the application to produce the actual document, which the Kellers are doing. It's also the assembly of it, the distribution of it, all those pieces to it. So under the Communication Committee, I think they can assess the need for it and make the changes that are needed.
Peggy, do you think the current editors would object to that? Moving it? Bernie and Keith?
I won't speak for them. That is something
No,
that...
I know, I'm just
that you would have
wondering
to
if you
talk to
knew.
them. Yeah. It does take a great deal of time.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it does.
But
So,
if we have the off months, just the schedule or events, and if something important happened that someone wanted to put in one article in, it probably
Yep.
would require...
that's a very good suggestion.
Yeah,
Is every other month, make it
Yeah.
more of an event one and...
right, that's what
Something
I'm
like that,
thinking.
sure.
Yeah.
Realistically, during the summer months, there's not much need for it. It's
No.
quiet here, and so that's easily eliminated. But, we probably will put it on the agenda, and we got 2 weeks to go before the next meeting, or roughly, and kick it around a little before and get more information and find out exactly what people are saying. Anything else, Peg? Anybody want to make comments on it? Yeah, Frank.
Well, Chris usually has his monthly meetings in the summertime, and he informs the community what's happening and going on. So I think that's a good communication there for the community, that some of the people that are here,
Yeah,
Yeah.
good point.
instead of
good
having
point.
the chip shots and so forth.
It's still going to stem down to, well, that's not the right wording, but to people volunteering. The distribution, the folding is not going to change from Maura to communication. And if you don't have the help needed, then I just ask everybody to think about how we can get people to volunteer so that we can get this out as desired by the community every single month, which means the community needs to step up and help out.
Okay.
One other thing on that is the more people who sign up to get their information by email, the fewer forms that we have to deal with.
Yeah.
So we really need more people to sign up for email. So we'll be having that form available at all our meetings, and now that we're having our meetings and stuff, get more people to sign up for it.
Okay.
How many
Thanks.
are we emailing us?
It's only 100 and some that are actually going. We have a lot of people on our email list, but we only send out to, you may have a husband and wife both, so they're both getting emails. But we only send it out for one per unit, so we only got about 100 and some units. So we got a lot of units that it would help a lot. And a lot of those are people that are not here, so the first ones, we send a lot out by mail. Once people start getting back in here, we reduce the number quite a bit.
Okay, anyone else?
Diane first.
Definitely.
Yes, Diane.
When did it become a problem with getting volunteers for folding the chip shots? Because I've been here 7 years, and it was never a problem. Was it because of the pandemic, and people didn't want to, interact with it? Or what was the reason?
It was mostly because of COVID,
Okay.
and like you used to have 10, 15 building reps in here folding them, and people just didn't want to come in and do it, and didn't want to go and knock on their neighbor's door and hand deliver. That's why we went to, you have to come get your own.
Right.
I think as the pandemic loosens, hopefully we can get back more into the way that it used to be.
And we could advertise it on 53 that we needed volunteers?
Yep, well, that's for sure, definitely.
One other thing on that for the distribution is when we would have them set up here for the building reps to come down and get them, they weren't getting distributed. So we would have certain people, like Millie, would gather them all and take them and get them distributed. So that was another piece of why we decided that we weren't going to do that anymore and have people come here and actually pick them up. So it all kind of works together.
How is it working with people picking them up? Because I agree. Oh my God, Peggy, I forgot your name. I agree with Peggy. I think the distribution by building reps lately, these past few years, have got less and less. And having people picking up, if people are interested in knowing what's going around here, they should be able to pick them up. Have we had a lot of people come and pick them up? But of course, we're dealing with COVID also. I mean, that's another thing. I think we should try having residents, owners pick them up if they're here, because usually they go by the building almost all the time.
And if they're getting it by email, they're not going to. But I mean, I can check with Grace. When our supply gets low, she prints some more.
Yeah.
But as to how many she actually prints off in a month time to keep that full, I don't know.
But that seems to be working.
But we can check on that.
I don't think it's getting distributed as much.
As much.
You don't have the single person coming in, they're just ignoring it and not picking it up. Definitely when the building reps delivered them,
Yeah.
big difference. I think many more of them got distributed.
Okay.
This might be a good year to push emails.
Yes.
I
People,
mean,
we need
do
your
it-
email.
We do it at every meeting,
Yeah,
every
but-
single
well,
week. We're doing it now. If we don't have your email address, call the office. But I think everybody in here has it.
Yeah.
That's the problem,
We do.
is the people that come to the meetings are already the ones that are in on this and know what's going on.
Yeah.
It's the ones that don't come to the meetings, you two, that need to give us their email address.
Agreed.
Well, either they need to give us their email address or we need to stop worrying about them. We're adults.
Yep.
Anyone else? Claire?
As a building rep, I don't see a problem doing my whole building.
Oh, well,
Big deal.
is that something that's normally done, where you pass them out on the building, or building reps usually give them to the building? or-
Yes, that's how it used to be
Yes.
done.
Yes.
Is we would have the building reps actually come in, they would be in each building, there would be 51 little slots, and the building rep would take it for their entire building. With COVID and we had a lot of building reps quit, Millie, Peg, Tom, we've got the building reps strong again. You know, we've got probably at least 40, 45 building reps. So the majority of the buildings can be given out by the reps. And that is something that we started talking about at my meeting, that we want to get the building reps back involved in doing this kind of thing. So I don't see there being a problem, because most people feel like Claire. If they're willing to be the building rep, they're willing to go and drop it off to their neighbor.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good.
Wear gloves, put a mask on.
Exactly, if you feel that way. And the rest of them, anybody who doesn't come, we have it on 63, that chip shots are available. If you didn't get yours and you know that's been on 63 for 4 days, come down to the office and get it.
Right.
And the reps would also know who's available at the building, who's there, and what chip shots need to be mailed.
Correct.
All right.
See, what they used to do before email, we would put a label on it with their address. The building reps would go around and they would know, okay, A, F, and G aren't here. They would bring them back and we would mail them. Well, we stopped doing the mailing years ago. So that was one of the reasons. There's no label on them anymore. It's just a blank chip shots.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if it has the label.
Okay, so it seems like it's worth the discussion which we had, and it should be put on the agenda for at our regular meeting. We agree on that, or you want to poll the committee? I think it should be on the committee, on the agenda for the regular meeting. Yeah, I don't think, okay?
Get it done and over with.
Yeah. All right, before I go to the second thing, I have to apologize, Chris, I'm sorry, I didn't ask if managers' comments wanted to
I
make some.
have nothing, I'm just gonna comment on what you have.
Okay.
Nothing of my own.
Okay, all right. Okay, number 2, we got the planning committee. Back to our old subject of railings on our condos. This has been going on for probably well over a year, kicking it around and whatnot. Anyway, this submitted by the planning committee to the board of directors, the Monterey Yacht and Country Club planning committee, from the planning committee, subject rails on the buildings. The planning, excuse me, the planning committee voted unanimously at our April 21st meeting to recommend to the board of directors that one handrail be provided on each building, to provide a double rail on at least one end of each building to enhance the safety of the stairways for residents who live upstairs and their visitors. As there are 22 buildings with no handrails attached to the building, this initiative would require additionally approximately 22 handrails at a cost of $475 each, for a total expenditure of approximately $10,450. It's not signed, but it's sent by the, I think Don Denny is the chair now of the committee. Just my thoughts, back when we were kicking it around, I think that was one of my ideas, to do it, make sure that each condo had at least one side where there were double railings to help people get up and down. So it is a safety issue. It's also a money issue. There are thoughts that we could possibly, once we finish the screens, just use that kind of money that's available to do the railings, although that could be putting it off a while, because we do have about still 80 screens or so to go. Those are my thoughts, but Vic, what do you think?
I'm against it. There's 29 buildings that have at least one rail now. Some buildings have 2. These rails were put on by residents who felt they needed it. I did it. I went with another apartment, we shared the cost, and put one on. This is not an assisted living community. I understand the safety issue. Every building has a rail now, of the railing that's on the upstairs. So there is a rail there technically. If these people of the 29 units felt that they needed a rail, they went out and did it, either singly or multiple units. I don't think we should get into it because you might decide that, okay, my building needs a handrail, but nobody in my building really needs one. So why go through the expense of doing it? Leave it up to the owners. If they want it, 29 people, 29 buildings did, let them foot the cost of putting one up.
Okay. Diane?
That's a good point.
Yes.
I'm really a person that feels that safety is the first important thing in any community, no matter if it's a private home community or a condo. Can't hear me?
Just got to get a little closer, that's all.
Can you hear me now?
Closer. Right up there.
Okay, can you hear me now? Oh, you can hear me now. Okay, I started to say that Vic makes a good point. Typically, I'm the person who feels that safety is the first important issue to come. So maybe what we need to do is do a little more detailed study and take a look at the buildings on the second floor that have people that probably would benefit from them, a rail, offer them the opportunity to work as a building to do that, if everybody in the building would be willing to share into that cost.
Kim?
Well, as a retired physical therapist, I'm very focused on safety, regardless of where we live. And I think we need to have a railing added to every building. No, I just think we need to have them.
Thank you, Kim.
I'm really torn, but I kind of agree with Victor, also Diane. Granted, the buildings that have a second railing were put on because someone upstairs needed to have a second rail done. And there are probably a lot of buildings that the people upstairs are young and healthy and do not need it. So I'm tending to agree with Victor and Diane on this.
Tom?
Okay, I've been going back and forth on this from the beginning. When we first started it off, we recommended that once the screenings were done, that maybe this could be a follow-up on the screenings, that if there was money there. But now we're in a financial situation where spending $10,000 now, I think, is not the right way to go. I think there should be more study on it, and if people need it, I've been getting a lot of pushback from residents now saying, why should I pay for a rail if I don't need a rail? And other people have paid for their own rails. Why don't they keep paying for their rails? So I think we should probably go with Victor and Diane and say, let's do a study, let's see how many people really need the rail, and if they need the rail, maybe they should pay for it themselves.
Chris, anything you'd like to say on it?
Gene, I have another comment.
Sure.
We've been here for 50 years. Has it been an issue? How many people have fallen or have really needed it over those 50 years? As far as I'm a kind of a new person here. I've only been here 9 years. I haven't seen an issue where we had to put a rail on because somebody fell.
I think we just recently had somebody fall, right?
That's one.
Is it
But how many
Isabel?
over time?
I would say, since I've been here, maybe about 10 people that have fallen down the steps, and some of them are places where the second rail is already there, and they still fell down the steps.
Yeah.
Anything else, guys? Okay.
See your hand.
Yeah, I know. We'll get to everyone will get a chance to speak. Frank, go ahead. What do you mean, of course? What does that mean?
My feelings is this, my building has 2 rails. and one neighbor that didn't need it bought it for another neighbor. And another gentleman bought it because he needed it. My other question is this, like Vic says. What happens when all the seniors now all want to move downstairs? So we're putting all this money in for younger people?
Okay. Kathy?
That's a good point.
I fell 3 years ago. And my neighbor that passed away, we decided we were going to put a railing. Well, I can't reach side to side. My arms are short. So I use the right-hand rail. I go one step at a time, I come up. The other day I did a study. I tried to do this. I tripped with the two rails, okay? Second of all, are you going to reimburse all the people that put the railings up? Because it was an expense. My neighbor and I shared it, but are you going to reimburse them on top of that $10,000? Then, I lose my train of thought, but why isn't it, where are you going to put these rails? How are you going to determine which side they go on? Once you put it on one side, the other people are going to say, well, gee, this is coming out of our money. Why isn't it on the other side? I don't understand. It was working when the person that felt they needed it on the second floor paid for it and did it. There was no problem. Now all of a sudden we're going to spend $10,000 plus. But like I said, are you going to reimburse everybody?
I'll comment to that, Kathy, because, people put windows in and pay for their own windows, even though Monterey theoretically is responsible for windows. And we didn't reimburse, none of us got reimbursed for our new windows, and we didn't even ask to be.
If Monterey started putting windows up, would you get reimbursed? I know, I was in the office and I know someone got reimbursed for their screens. We reimbursed people that had new screens, so you're not gonna reimburse people that paid for the rail. Don't make sense.
Okay, they got reimbursed for the screens because Monterey replaces screens. And they had done them beforehand, that's why they were reimbursed. Windows, the board of directors voted unanimously that if and when there's ever a special assessment for windows, if you had your windows installed, you would be exempt from the special assessment.
Correct.
Okay? This is all common knowledge.
That's been around for a while,
Monterey's gonna put the rails up, you're gonna go put them up or not put them up, so why can't we get reimbursed? It's only fair.
I don't believe that. I don't believe it's fair. It's, if you go and spend, I put windows in, I don't expect to get reimbursed. But anyway, let's move on. Bobby?
It's a tough decision on it, but I'm involved with safety all my life also. And I think you're going to run into a problem if you start paying for railings going upstairs. Like numerous people said, which side of the building are you going to put it on? Who's going to be reimbursed for what they did? And so forth like that. You're going to run into a major problem. If people need it, let them put it up themselves like they've done in the past, then you'll have a problem. Back to the windows thing, I believe the rules, the amendment does say when they put the windows in, you will be reimbursed.
Nope, I can get the resolution out.
The resolution, I believe, does say, when we have an assessment,
You will be,
people put the windows will be, yes, will
you will
be,
be exempt.
right.
from the-
No, that's like being reimbursed, yes. They won't be charged to
Correct.
put the windows, yeah.
That's right.
That's a definite on that, okay.
Can I add something to that?
One second, Frank.
Yeah.
1 second. Wally?
Yeah, my thought is, people don't have a problem spending 400 and change for a bench. If they need a rail, they could spend the $400 for the rail.
Good point.
Okay,
What's the difference?
good then. Anyone else back there? Okay, Frank.
As far as windows, if I remember correctly, because I used to argue with Jim Hensel about this, if you have hurricane shutters, you don't need to have windows put in. Because you have the hurricane shutters, you can keep your old ones. Am I correct, Chris?
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, there's no mandate that people have to change their windows, is there, Chris?
No,
It's when they can't be repaired.
so many people had asked about getting impact windows. The association cannot afford to do it. It's well over $5 million.
Yes.
So what the board at the time did said, anyone who wants to put impact windows in, we are giving you permission to do it. You are responsible for the installation, the repair of the walls, etc. Once they are in, they become Monterey's. If a window gets broken by a golf ball, which they still do, impact windows, Monterey pays for it. What the resolution went on to say is, if and when the association begins charging for them through a special assessment, anyone who had their windows and paid for them themselves will be exempt from the special assessment. So in other words, let's say there's 204 end units. If 60 of them put their own windows in, when we get the special assessment, the end units, their number would be broken down by only 144 units, not 204. Does everybody get that?
Yes.
Yeah, my question is, does that pertain also to somebody that bought a unit and the windows were already in?
Correct.
Would they be?
It's not the person, it's the unit.
Okay.
Okay. Tom is on the planning committee, the liaison, so I defer to him on this here. If he feels we need more time to maybe get some more information, and so we could table this for a while rather than put it on the agenda for our upcoming meeting. So I'll sort of make a motion that we table it until we get more information and make a better informed decision.
I
I'll
second.
second it.
Okay.
Ryan?
It's not a vote, there's no vote.
No.
Just we all agree.
This is just, it's not going on the agenda.
Okay. We want to set a date to borrow the reserves. I think, we've been kicking around now borrowing reserves so we could finish our ponds, which is definitely a necessity here. The pond erosions, we've kicked it around for a while. We've lost hundreds of trees throughout the years, and the erosion in some areas is, could be threatening the buildings, needs to be addressed. So, let's kick it around. I think the sooner the better to get the vote in so that we can have the money, so we can make moves on our contractors and have money there to use to pay for maybe an estimates for the whole job, all remaining, I think it's 5 ponds that are still left. Everybody seems to on board, but I want to rest assured, as long as I'm on the board, any special assessments that will go back to paying off the reserves will be kept in a controlled, moderate way. We're not looking to hit the community with big numbers, at least I'm not. And we'll spread out the special assessments so that they're not really, the community's not getting hit hard with the assessments. But we will have to pay the money back to the reserves. Either way, whether we borrow it from the reserves or borrow it from a bank or just get special assessments, that's the way it goes. So, Vic, what are your thoughts?
I think we should do it as soon as we can.
What about, wait a little bit till most of the people are down here to send out votes on this? First of all, we need a majority vote. People don't answer the mail. It could lead to a problem like with capital contribution.
So if we wait till, most people are going to be waiting till January.
Yeah, I know.
And there's a vote going out in March. We talked about doing this as soon as we can.
Yep.
I think if we put it in, like Chris says, legalese, which we have to,
Right.
but then do a cover letter as well, breaking it down so people understand what's going on. I think we should do it as soon as possible, because what happens if we sign the contract today to do a pond or all of them, whatever, and say the contractor's available right now? he wants to order products. Normally, we have to give him some upfront money so he can get the materials. Well, if we wait until most people get here, that's not gonna happen until maybe February or March. Let's get it done now. Get it on the agenda for next board meeting. Set up a time, whatever.
Okay. Diane?
I agree with Victor. I think that it's very important that people understand that we're not borrowing the money from the reserves. We're transferring the money. And if we transfer the money versus getting it from the bank, we save ourselves that interest rate. So in reality, we're making every homeowner's assessment less than what it would have been if we borrowed it from the bank. But I think people clearly need to understand that. So I don't know if we need a special letter. I agree that a letter needs to go, a cover letter, but maybe just a general letter to go out first to people to say, this is what the bottom line is, you know, and I don't know, Chris, if we could have like numbers that would be indicating, not that they're going to be 100% accurate, of what it would be if we borrowed the money plus interest versus transfer the money.
Okay, so the biggest thing was, as we talked about, we can't really borrow money.
No, we're not.
We can't.
Oh, can't.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they will not give us a line of credit because they will not use the reserves as the collateral. To get a regular loan, that there would be the interest rates, there would be closing fees, there would be impact fees, there would be all this. It is not worth us doing it. So what everybody has to remember is, either way, whether they allow us to transfer the funds, you are paying it back through a special assessment. What we're trying to do is make it easier so that the money is available. As Vic was just saying, we signed the contract right now, it's $100,000. We have to send it out to all the people saying the special assessment is due on such and such a date. We can't start any work until we start getting that money in. What we're doing with borrowing or transferring is being able to use that money immediately. This way, we sign the contract and they say we can start in 2 weeks. Special assessment, I don't have the money. Transferring from the reserves, we have the money immediately. The second thing that came with that is every time we've done a pond, it has gone over budget. They find something else that needed to be done, a culvert that we missed. Price has gone up. We change the work order. We take the island out, costs us money. Now we have to go back to you again and add this on to another special assessment. So we're trying to cut all of that out. I left in all of your boxes the legal written, the legalese. Yeah.
Which no one will understand.
It's, exactly. You understand it because I understand it, okay? Most people are not gonna read that and be like, they're gonna be like, huh? So that's why the layman's terms, we've got to put a really good letter together to explain it to the owners why we want to do this.
Should be enclosed with the,
Yes.
Absolutely, with it.
Yeah.
Well, didn't we do this about 2 years ago and it was turned down because people didn't really understand?
Correct. About 2 or 3 years ago, we did it with the annual meeting. We did not do a layman's term with it. All we did was send basically the attorney's letter, and it didn't pass because people just didn't understand it. However, 8 or 9 years ago, we did it when we borrowed the money from the reserves to buy the washers and dryers. We did send out a layman's terms, and it passed overwhelmingly, and the association allowed us to borrow the money from the reserves to buy the washers and dryers. So it really has to do with how well we word this letter.
Exactly.
Yes.
yeah, it's very important.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I give it to all you guys if we could tweak it and come up with the wording and really get a good cover letter, but I agree it should be done as soon as possible.
ASAP.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Diane,
Definitely.
are you finished? Kim?
I agree with Victor, do it now with a good letter going out with the community in agreement after they review the letter that we need to send out now.
Okay. Lorraine?
Yeah, I agree. We need to have a separate cover letter. We need to do it as soon as possible. We don't want it to go out with the annual meeting thing. It's that people read that and just check off who they're voting for and don't go any further. And the sooner we do it, the better, and start working on that letter to make it clear and definitely in layman's terms.
Tom?
I totally agree with Lorraine, but I think we have to emphasize that if we do transfer it from our reserves, that we are going to save money. We are going to save money. Let people know it's going to be a lower assessment if we do it this way. If we wait, they're going to have to pay more in their assessments.
Okay, and I agree too. We should get that's why we put it on the agenda here. We want to get it out and done, and so we can keep up with our pond restorations. So we'll put, anyone like to comment on it? Bobby?
I think pretty much it's a no-brainer, in my opinion. However, what I would do is if you could draft a letter fairly quickly and have it at the Moore meeting by November 1st and explain it to people that's already there, then make it get through their head and understand it, and then they can pass the word around. But like I say, we did pass the thing years ago with everybody knew. We dwelled on it at the Moore meetings and so forth. But I think that's the start, because I think it's a no-brainer, I think, but
Yeah.
that's what you got to get across. But I would say the Moore meetings would be to start it. By November 1st.
It is, and Chris is our guest speaker that night, so it will be on.
Be a full house that night.
We have my meeting at 10 a.m., and then we have more at 6 p.m. So
There we go.
be ready to
Yep.
review this over and
Yep.
over.
Good. That way they'll pass the word to their neighbors.
Anyone else?
Also, I think we should probably put it on 63. Vote yes for the transfer of
Yeah,
funds.
we already been working on the wording of the letters. We have the thing from the lawyer, and we also are working on something that in layman's terms would make it easier to understand.
Chip shots.
So, we'll put it on the agenda. I'll make a motion, we put it on the agenda for the upcoming board meeting.
Yeah.
We need a second?
No, it's not actually a motion. You guys just agree that you're putting it on.
Okay.
When is the next board meeting? I'm sorry,
I don't know yet.
because we kind of got mixed up with everything.
Yeah. I didn't bring my calendar.
So actually, the second Tuesday, I know, is the 9th.
Tell you the truth, that I don't have it there.
Theoretically, it should be next week.
Right.
Yeah.
We could move it up.
Next week is the,
Yeah, but we got,
yes, it should be.
we got messed up, so.
I thought it was going to be the second Tuesday of the month.
No, it's
Did we set it? We set a date, right? Didn't we?
We changed, normally the board meeting would have been the next Tuesday, but we changed because we were waiting for you to get back and we had it added on October 5th. But I think most of you had said you really want to try to we have the workshop meeting on the second Tuesday and
Yes.
the board meeting on the fourth
On the
Tuesday.
fourth
Right.
Tuesday, yeah.
We'd like to.
Want to go ahead and do it next week? Just get back in the routine?
Let's
Well, we need
skip
to have
it.
that letter done.
Done.
So if everybody can work on that letter and we can have it ready,
I won't be able to be at that board meeting.
Well, let's just do it on our next board meeting, and between now and next week, we'll decide if we can get it together and have a meeting next week.
so whenever the next meeting is, it'll be on that agenda.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay? Okay, let me see. As you, just a couple of things, did you notice that our boxes were out there for the garbage? We got 50 boxes, thanks to Pam for helping putting it together and getting them from Sam's, I believe. We have quite a few volunteers to help put them together. Chris is contemplating doing a little class for people who would like to put their own together, which is a possibility. But remember, the preparation is important. We have to fill in the garbage pail holes and whatnot, and level everything and get the rocks in there. So we're still working on how we're going to proceed, but looks like everything's working out and falling into place.
What will,
Brent?
wait, I have a question. What will how will you distribute them? Is it from Building 1 or from Building 51?
Well, all right, go
It
ahead.
was actually suggested from Pam that we start at building 51.
Oh, good.
And work our way backwards.
Backwards.
Normally, we start at 1, and so we're gonna start at 51 and work backwards instead.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, Bob, you're right in the middle no matter what.
Yep.
Whatever you want to do.
I got a letter from Maura that Brendan Lee, our artist, will be sometime in this near fall, I guess pretty soon, we'll be putting the additional seal coat on the sailboat mural, and we'll also address our request to update the golfer mural here at the pool. So, I don't know, she's back, or she was away, right, doing a big job, but she said in her email that she'd be ready to do it or move on the fall, is that correct?
Yeah, she got back last weekend, and we're waiting for Labadie to get back, and he's going to meet with her.
Okay, thanks, ma'am. Peg. Okay, I'll go around the board members. You guys anybody have anything to say? I'll start with Vic.
I have one item I'd like to, I think, add on to the board meeting if we can. We're always talking about volunteers. Sometimes how it's hard to get volunteers to do different things. There are some incidents where there's people who volunteer on multiple, 2, 3, 4 committees or activities. I would like to present to everybody, maybe we put a restriction on how many activities or committees or whatever you want to call it, how many you can be on, so we can spread our volunteers around a little bit more. My suggestion would be no more than 2 committees at a time. I'll take to Sam's, like, I want to volunteer, I could maybe on Tom's planning and finance, but no more, that's it. Let's get other people, we're getting new people in the community all the time.
Yeah.
Let's get some of these new people on. I've had several people come up to me and say, I'd like to volunteer on something, but at the moment, there's no openings.
Okay, good thought. Just talking to Brenda Beanie the other day, and Benny, excuse me, she said over the last year we had over 60 new units sold. So there was a transition period going on. All right, Vic, you wanted to put it on the agenda?
I'd like to have it on the agenda for the next board meeting.
Fine with me. You guys agree?
I think it's a good idea. I think it's a good idea.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I talked to several board members last spring before I went home for the summer.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they agree with me.
Yeah, it's certainly good to get out to the community and get more people involved, although our volunteers now do a great job, so we could always use some new blood, that's for sure. Okay, we'll put it on the agenda. Anything else, Vic?
That's all.
Diane?
I think a couple months ago, there was a request from the proposed competitive golf.
Can't hear you, Diane.
Oh, my gosh.
You gotta practically put your lips on it.
Okay, here I come.
There you go.
A couple of months ago, there was a request for a new competitive golf league, both for men and women, and I think you decided to put it off until people got back to discuss it. So people are starting to get back. I think that we need to discuss that and, look at any kind of new activities that would be fun for the community.
Yeah, that should be.
Yeah, I was just gonna comment, we got a letter that came from Bill to me, to the board, to address it. But the more I think about it, and also input from other people, it seems to be a mixed golf decision. And then if someone complains or brings it to the board, then we would address it and act on it. But I do believe that it is mixed golf. I was going to talk to Bill about it soon.
Okay.
And let them, spoke with Chris about it, and he seemed to think that mixed golf usually makes those kind of decisions.
Perfect.
Even though it involves everybody, but then if there are complaints, we'll address it,
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think it's just important, it's one of those pieces that could be put into, chip shots or emails or whatever, or 63, it's, a new idea. It's not, to have a mixed league, men and women as competitive golfers.
Okay, Kim?
I just have two comments. One is to thank the Social Activities Committee and people that have helped them put together the calendar for the coming year. It's nice to anticipate some of these events because we haven't had that ability to do that for well over a year. So my thanks goes out to the Social Activities Committee. My second comment is I'd like to thank the board and for keeping this meeting to 1 hour and 5 minutes. And I think that we need to continue with that speed. And anyway, thank you.
We're not done yet.
Oh, no, I'm watching.
Lorraine? Lorraine?
No, I don't have any comments.
Tom?
Okay, just to follow up on what Vic was saying about committees and volunteers, if each committee chair would check their folder, there's a form in there to let us know what your mission statement is on your committee, when you meet, how many people are on the committee, how you get on the committee. If you could get that to us as soon as possible, we can put a folder together, we can get it out to the folks, and they can know how to volunteer, when to volunteer, when we meet, and information will be provided. I'd also like to welcome back all the seasonal people who are here.
Okay.
Jane, to follow up on Kim, doesn't the board normally approve the activities calendar? It has in the
Yes,
past.
it has in the past.
And it hasn't been done for this year.
I've never approved it, it never was sent to me for approval. I'm assuming that the activities.
Yeah, no, basically what it was just a formality that went through, because if somebody has a conflict, if there's a conflict in it, instead of blaming the social activities, they would blame the board of directors instead. That was just a formality that they passed, they handed the activity folder to the board, no conflicts, fine, it's approved. Basically, that's what it was. So, it was just to make sure that there wasn't a conflict in any events. That's the basic thing of it.
Well, if I was to...
It always came up.
I don't know if it's approval they're looking for, just like I would have maybe go through it with the social activities chairman and look at it. I know there were some changes made, like the Neil Diamond party that was scheduled for the upcoming new season in March somehow was taken off the list. And I just discovered it maybe about a month ago, but we straightened it out. But there were also other changes made, so it's good to have, somebody double check things, and I don't mind doing it, not at all.
No.
Did you want to say something, Peg?
Well, the assembly of the calendar was under Mora.
Yes.
So the social activities gives me the list of all the events they want to have. I get the events from the golfing community, and I put the calendar together and get that to the board by the April meeting. And so that's where everybody looks at, make sure there's no conflicts or anything like that. So that's kind of how that gets
Okay.
together. So there is a calendar done for the events at that time. But throughout the year, new events happen.
I know it's a
So-
big job, too, it is, putting
Yeah.
it together, absolutely.
But it's a matter of getting those venues reserved for those events that are already in place. So if somebody wants to have a new event, they have to make sure that the venue's available, too. So
Yep.
that's kind of what it was about. So that calendar was put together, you have a copy of it.
Yes, I do.
I did send it to you, and I think Grace has one, because then when people come in and even if it's not an event for other people, it might be somebody wants to have a private party over there, she knows that that venue or this venue is reserved on that date. So it's going through her also.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
kind of how it worked.
Well, it sounds like everything was working pretty good, Sometimes, maybe some gets lost in the shuffle, but generally, it's a tough job putting it together with, I mean, it's a busy calendar. If you look at the calendar, it's busy. Just that there's not many dates in there. I had trouble finding a new date for the Neil Diamond thing because of my vacation, but anyway. So, yeah, that's fine. I'll be glad to, you know, go it over with anybody who wants me to look at it, no problem. Okay? Chris?
3 quick things. The carpet at the yacht club was cleaned last Friday. The carpets in this clubhouse will be cleaned this Friday. With the office will still be open. Of course, we're just gonna ask you don't walk on the carpet. And the golf course will be closed all day on Monday, will not open up until Tuesday morning. We're gonna be treating for nematodes, and Sid does not want anyone walking on the course until the next morning. So we will put that on channel 63. That's it.
I have a couple of questions. Number one, there's a sign on the library door that says masks are required.
I just haven't taken it down because I took it down off of that one.
All right.
You guys had decided at the last one that we are not making it required.
Right.
It's totally optional. I took it down off of this door, but I have not taken it off of that one. I'll do that today.
Okay, good. I just wanted to, okay.
Okay, any comments or questions from the residents? Okay, looks like 10 after, Kim. All right, I'll make a motion that we close our meeting.
Second.
Okay, we're out of here.
We didn't actually start